What's up, guys? Chris here to give some predictions for UFC 167 going down this weekend. Although it's being billed as the 20th anniversary show, it doesn't really seem like a special event to me. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of buzz going into it, more so than any other UFC. Just me personally. I don't know. You may think differently, and maybe it'll feel more. I'll anticipate it more, or be more anxious for it as the weekend approaches. But at the moment, it just feels like a typical UFC to me, considering the occasion. That said, good main event, but the rest of the card, just so-so in my opinion. Nothing really special, including the pay-per-view, I'm not even going to talk about all the fights, just the top 3 fights. First up, you got Rory MacDonald taking on Robbie Lawler. Both guys fought on the same card last time out. Rory MacDonald won a somewhat lackluster, if not dominant decision over Jake Ellenberger, whereas Robbie Lawler blasted out Bobby Booker. Although they're not necessarily in the same area, the same pecking order positions, currently in the UFC's welterweight rankings, I think they made this fight because they want to get Rory in a more exciting fight, kind of build him up, make fans want to be more hyped for his fights or for him as a fighter. And Robbie Lawler definitely should do that, should bring that out of him. That said, I figure Rory to win this fight. Sure, Robbie's got the power to knock him out, pretty much knock out anyone in his weight division, but Rory's a methodical fighter. I think he is a little bit rangier on the feet, better with the kicks. Robbie Lawler has always been, I guess you would say, kicking or dealing with kicks. That's the weakness part of his game. I think MacDonald can use leg kicks there, jab him from a distance. I don't know if he can really get him down or if he'll even can do that, but I think he'll just try to box or keep a smart, safe fight on the feet and outpoint him. And I think he can do that. I think Robbie's only really a threat for the first couple of rounds or so. So give me Rory MacDonald by decision. Co-main event of the night, 2 big names, not necessarily a big fight in my opinion. Rashad Evans versus Chael Sonnen. I just don't think this is going to be a very exciting fight. I just, stylistically, got 2 guys that are wrestlers. I think the wrestling will cancel each other out in this situation. And if that happens to be the case, got to favor Rashad Evans. Much faster, better boxer, better kicker, just better overall stand-up fighter. And even if the wrestling doesn't cancel each other out, I think it's pretty much even. Chael could get a takedown, Rashad could get a takedown, but I don't think either guys are going to really dominate the other on the ground. So give me Rashad by decision. I think it'll be somewhat similar to his win against Dan Henderson, except for he's not going to have to worry about getting hit with the big H-bomb like he did against Hendo. And, of course, the main event, UFC welterweight champion George St. Pierre defending his title against Johny Hendricks. I'll say this. I do think that Hendricks is GSP's most dangerous opponent or challenge, perhaps during this title reign, because he does got that one-hitter quitter power, and he does have the wrestling base. I mean, a few guys he's fought on paper have had the wrestling that should kind of nullify GSP's takedowns. It hasn't really worked out that way. But Hendricks, I do think his wrestling pedigree and what we've seen from him in the octagon, his wrestling should be able to make GSP's typical take you down and control you on the ground for the majority of rounds bit null and void. And even if GSP can't take Hendricks down, I don't think he can just control him on the ground like he does with a lot of opponents. I think Hendricks has got a strong enough base and is, just from his wrestling experience and years of doing it, and being so successful, he can get off his back, create scrambles, get back to his feet. So I don't think GSP is going to be able to control on the ground. On the feet, Hendricks brings the power. We know this. If anyone is a threat to knock out Johny St. Pierre in that division, I think it's Hendricks. Robbie Lawler as well, but, he's not fighting Robbie Lawler tonight. Or on Saturday, he's fighting Hendricks. But, unfortunately, GSP, the better overall stand-up fighter, definitely with the kicks, good jab, good boxing. I think GSP's boxing is a bit underrated because he doesn't, preferably, even when he's dominating, it's not the most exciting stuff like he did against Jake Shields and Josh Koscheck in the rematch, and even, surprised he even got the better of Nick Diaz for the most part in the stand-up portion of their fight. But I do think that he can get the best of Johny Hendricks on the stand-up. Johny just needs to, from the first bell on, kind of try to bum rush GSP, go for the big knockout early, because the more comfortable George St. Pierre gets and the more he sees things that are being successful, he's going to stick with them. So you got to try to get him out of there early for Hendricks. If this fight goes to a decision, I definitely think it's GSP's. But so I think Hendricks, most likely, if he's going to win, it's going to be by knockout. That said, I favor GSP. Even since coming back from the injury, he still has looked pretty dominant. Wins over Condit and Diaz back-to-back. Doesn't give me any reason to think he's slowing down any. I do think Johny Hendricks, like I said, is a legitimate threat to beat him, especially if he can touch him, but easier said than done. Not saying it's out of the realm of possibility, but I favor Georges St. Pierre to win this fight by decision. It should be a more exciting fight, I think, than GSP's typical decision fast fights, but I still favor him to retain the title. All right, that's it. What are your guys' thoughts on this event? Are you looking forward to it? Does it feel like a big event, like anything different or anything special, considering it's the 20th anniversary of the UFC? Or does it feel just like a typical UFC to you as it does to myself? Thoughts on the fights, which ones you're looking forward to, who you see winning no matter how, particularly the main event. I'll be back on Saturday night afterwards to talk about it. But until then, links to Twitter and Facebook and information for other video as always. And until next time, I'm out.